Hello, my name is Rwamapedia for Rwamapedia. The song Coward of the County left to us by Ken Rogers has a lot to tell us about crime. It gives a clear picture of the disasters crime bestow upon individuals and the society at large. Remember, crime is one of the reasons why governments exist, to protect the poor, to protect the weak from the ones that are strong. But let's start the storyline before we go deep into it to analyze it, what it really spoke to us. A story is told of a young boy of 10 whose father is dying in prison. The boy grows up at his uncle's family. He's very careful, he fears to do anything, and then after, when he's 20, his loved one is raped, and he's confused whether to retaliate, and that will bring him into crime, or not to retaliate. But at the end, he decides not to. And he remembers the words that his father had told him. Then after, he goes to a bar, and unfortunately, he finds the very guys, the three of them that raped his loved one. They push him into a fight with them, and he fights them and he defeats them. That is the storyline. Then he regrets why he fought. So we go to the deep analysis of the song. What does the song speak to us? Or what are some of the things that are in the song but are not clear, that we need to bring out clearly to show that Ken Rogers was talking about ABCD? Now, there is a lot of evidence that this father of the boy was serving a long prison sentence, in fact a life sentence. And there is also evidence in this song that this father had probably murdered, so he was convicted for murder. If it was just a minor crime, he would be released on parole, but he could not be released on parole, and that's why he died in prison. And this is clearly showing us that this man was serving a life sentence without parole, that is probably due to murder. When you analyze the message, the words he told his son, he told him to turn the other cheek. He warns him not to engage in crime, in fighting, not to retaliate. It gives you a picture that still this man, why he's telling his son so? Because he did the same things, because he fought. That's why he's telling his son not to do the same thing. In other words, he's saying, I walked into trouble when I could avoid it. I thought it meant a weakness of me to turn the other cheek. I thought that I had to fight to be a man. So these lines in this song tell us that this man was serving a life imprisonment without parole. The song does not record what befell of Tommy's mother, but it mentions that she's the one who named this boy Tommy. And this is also evidence that by the time Tommy was born, the father was already in prison. So the father wasn't there to name the child. It was only the mother who was there to name the child. This is another evidence in the song that this man had been in prison for 10 years, so he was serving a long sentence without parole. And this leads us to another conclusion, that the mother left this home when Tommy was young and he married another woman, because the song doesn't tell us whether what happened to the woman. But according to these simple words in it, it gives a picture that this mother could have left and married another man. The reason why I say this mother left this home, she was frustrated because the husband had been handed a life sentence, so she had no hope of seeing him again. She left Tommy in the care of the uncle and she went away. This is what the song is telling us. Let's go to the home where Tommy is brought up. We see this home as a home of full boredom. We don't see anyone in this song, anyone else. It is only Tommy and his uncle. And we also see that the uncle does not talk to him so much. He doesn't actually say anything in the song apart from being the speaker in the song as Ken Rogers. But there is no communication, direct communication between the uncle and Tommy. Then we want to know, who is Becky? We see Becky as a loved one to Tommy, but who is she? One can argue that the lady Becky, whom the Gatlin boys assault while Tommy is away, is his relative. They live together at his uncle's. Some people have really argued so, and it holds some water, because we know Tommy has lived a solitary life. It could be that this woman is a relative, because at the age of 20 he's not able to engage in romantic relationship, when he has been living a solitary life. However, another side shows that Becky is actually Tommy's soulmate, because when you look at the words, the song describes the relationship between Tommy and Becky. It says that Tommy's love was Becky. In her arms, he didn't have to prove that he was a man. Now, when you look at these words, Tommy's love was Becky, the arms embracing, the fact that the song mentions Tommy falling in Becky's arms, and he didn't have to prove that he's a man. This is proving manhood to a woman. This brings the idea that there is a romantic relationship between these two people that is going on. Now, the hint that would confirm whether Tommy is a relative to Becky or not, or just someone they had a romantic relationship, it would be if the song had revealed where these people lived. If the song was clear where these people lived, for example, if the song had said that Tommy lived with Becky at Ken Rogers' house, it would make sense that these people are relatives. If the song had told us that Tommy lived with Becky in their house alone, it would mean that these people have a romantic relationship. But the song is not clear, is quite silent about that. Now, we see this man is living a solitary life, but then he goes to a bar. This is confusing. How can a man who lives in house, who doesn't want to meet people, who avoids crying, who is haunted by the words of his father never to engage in anything that is fighting that can drag him into crime, why does he go to a bar? So when you analyze the song, you find that when Becky was raped, the young man, Tommy, goes to the bar. It is distress. He is so confused. He doesn't know what to do between retaliating and heeding his father's words never to fight. So he goes to the bar to drink, to find solace in wines, in alcohol, because he's a confused man at this time. This is why we see Tommy going to the bar. Then when he gets to the bar, he unfortunately finds the 3 young men who raped Becky. Now, these young men probably think that he has come to retaliate, and one of them comes, meets him before he reaches them. He confronts him, and Tommy, because he's not intending to fight, as a man who is heeding his father's words, who died in prison because of crime, turns to go away. Then they mention the name, the nickname he had been given when he was still young, Yellow. Yellow was a nickname given to him, meaning he's coward. So he fights them. He fights at the bar and we see him defeating him. But then still there is something that we have to clarify here. What kind of fight did they have? The song may suggest that he beat them. He could not fight 3 gangsters who are experienced in crime, in fighting for all their life. And remember, he's a young man of 20 who has not been fighting at all in his life. This young man, a naive who doesn't know how to fight, cannot defeat 3 young men at this bar. The other thing is, the song records that he said this one is for Becky as he watched the last one fall. Now this is vividly showing us that when the last one was falling, he was in a distance. He's not this man who is falling is not with Tommy, which means that he shot at him. So he fell in a distance and he watched him fall. This is telling us that what happened between the fight between these 2 people was not hand to hand physically, but they were in a distance, and the only way of fighting people and kill them or and defeat them in a distance is using a gun. So probably this man used a gun. Now he goes from the bar, he goes back to the house and he picks his father's picture and he says these words, that I promised you, Dad, not to do the things you have done. I walk away from trouble when I can. Now please don't think I'm weak. I couldn't, I turned the other cheek, and Papa, I should hope you understand. Sometimes you got to fight when you're a man. And this is the moral lesson of the whole song, that when you're a man, you cannot avoid fighting. You can, when you avoid fighting, you can do it. It can stand a test of time when you're still young, during childhood. But when you're a man, it is very difficult to avoid fighting. So let's stop here. We're coming back for the next part 2, further analyzing what Ken Rogers is telling governments to do to combat crime in societies. Thank you very much. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is Rwamapedia for Rwamapedia.